Hello, my loves. Of course, my phone is dying. We're not even gonna talk about the fact that I have a whole microphone, but I still use my phone. But anyway, let me talk about stuff that's actually in the video. So I noticed this comment like apparently 3 months ago. It was marinating in the back of my mind. And one day, I guess, all of a sudden, I was like, oh yeah, wasn't I supposed to do that? I am so sorry, but this recipe, this one right here, this is for you. When I heard chicken, the words Tuscan pasta immediately came to mind. And y'all know I love a creamy gravy, so that's what we gonna do. I'm first starting off with sun-dried tomatoes and olive oil. You could also do completely dehydrated ones and then just rehydrate them with a little bit of water, whatever. And going off of my last video, since I want to make as many pantry meals as possible, now that I know everything that's in mine and have made it hopefully easily accessible by reorganizing it, if you saw that video, I want to use it up so that I can cycle through it and make sure everything stays fresh, because that's the point, right? What's the use of buying something you don't plan on eating? At this point, I feel like I could eat for days, thank you Lord, without even going to the grocery store. So I actually thought about making that like a series. If you want to see it, let me know. But back to the video, I'm just using whatever pasta I have. I'm not sure the name of this one. If I can figure it out, I'll put it in the description box along with the recipes. But I actually cut it. I know, it's a crime. I wanted like a shorter noodle so that I could just like scoop up the chicken real easily, you know what I mean? So after we prep our veggies, reserve some pasta water, I'm gonna brown up the chicken in my little, garlic shallot oil cubes with a lid, because that's the key here, is that when using seitan, you definitely wanna make sure that it stays moist. We're gonna lock that steam in so that we get the color that we want, but not make it dry. Added in another cube. I'm using that to cook down the onions. Also, don't forget to add in your salt so that you sweat down the onions and any seasoning that you want. And then I'm going to add in the pasta water to deglaze the pan, as well as some cashew milk. Technically, I handle spinach. Literally, you couldn't tell because it was baby kale. So like, it didn't have that really, really strong flavor, you know? I know it looks kind of scary right now, but trust me, you just wait. Let that cashew milk thicken up. And at this point, I just completely forgot about the chicken. So we're just gonna ignore the fact that I completely plated without it, but I remember it later. Also in the last episode, you might have seen me make ful. So I had some leftover fava beans, therefore I am making it again. This time, however, I did not have any injera. So I just had it with pita. Don't ask me why I haven't made it yet. I literally made the batter and then just like didn't use it. I let it just keep fermenting, and then it got to a point I was just like, I'm not sure if I want to use this. But after making my own sourdough, which y'all gonna see later in this video, I feel like there's no more excuses, because the amount of time I put into that, I could definitely put it into this. So this is actually me mixing day one of my starter, which is just flour, water, done. And although at the time I didn't think I was adding too much liquid, I might have. Cover it loosely. So if you have like a twist cap, Don't put it all the way on. And as you can see, we have jumped immediately. This is not the same container because after feeding it for like several days, I felt like it just wasn't doing much. So what I did was I added agave. Mary, YouTube suggested one of her like shorts to me. It was actually a short of hers where she added honey to her starter that inspired me to add agave to mine, and it helped immediately. It was like night and day. At that point, I was like, anything she says, I'm listening. So in the background, you'll see the side of the jar looks all unclean. That's just from the activity of the mixture like rising and falling. So after you start seeing some bubbling, that is when you'll basically get rid of like half of it and then feed it fresh flour and water. But you don't actually have to discard or throw away. You can save it and then use it in a recipe where you would normally use flour and water because you need to feed your starter about every day. And I'll also show you what this looks like later. So again, speaking of using things in my pantry, because I noticed I had like several jars of coconut milk and I haven't made any curries or anything that I would normally put it in, I asked myself, I said, self, what can you use this for? And for some reason, condensed milk came to mind. And like an hour later, this is what my starter looks like. The line that I drew is where we started, like immediately after mixing it up. And this is how much it's risen. You can see all the bubbles in it. So we've got a lot of activity happening. And later that evening, it more than doubled. In fact, this wasn't its end point. That was before I went to bed, but when I woke up in the morning, it had actually spilled over. So that's my bad. I definitely should have upgraded to a different jar, but me feeding it as much as I did was a last minute decision. And from the looks of it, I said, I think this might be it. It might be mature enough for me to finally make the bread. So to test that theory, I did the float test where you take a little bit and you see if it floats. Self-explanatory. But I wasn't making bread that day. So I put it in the refrigerator. It's kind of like your pause button. And the reason I couldn't make bread is because I decided to make a cake. Not just any cake, carrot cake. Because that's my sweetie's favorite, and it was his birthday. This is, I'm pretty sure, not my first time baking, but let's just say it's been a while. Funnily enough, I also remembered getting a comment like, why don't I bake anything? And in my mind, I went, who do you think I am? But not because that's not a perfectly acceptable thing to do, but that it's not something I had given myself permission to do for a very long time. My relationship with food not always being the healthiest, personally, I would have never baked something that would allow me the opportunity to not have any self-control because portions, servings where? However, 2023 me, yeah, we stepping out. We need to do things that we don't normally do. This is growth. This and the bread as well. Life is too short not to enjoy things, and we gotta start somewhere. Let me shut up and just talk about this daggone food. Attempt number 1 was a fail, complete fail, because the carrots add a lot of moisture. Your cakes can turn out really dense. You can't normally overmix stuff when baking. You definitely can't overmix this. So I learned the first time. And I also felt like part of it was not me, it was the recipe. So I got fresh baking powder and I tried again. He really liked it, and to this day, he will not shut up about it. And he really liked it with the icing that I chose, which is not icing. As you can see, I went for like a glaze. This is essentially almost the exact recipe I used to make the chia pudding, except like no liquid. So it's just cashews, agave, cinnamon, ginger, and of course some vanilla. And because I was just trialing this recipe, I didn't do all the things I would have done to it, like add walnuts and pecans. I just topped it with nuts, and I went for pistachios, but he tried it with pecans, pecans, however you say it. And the reason you're not seeing that is because he didn't even have none. He didn't even have none on his birthday. Anyway, let's get into this bread. I am starting off with my newly thrifted bowls. You might have saw it on my stories if you follow me on Instagram. I'm adding my starter to some water, and then I'm throwing in more flour and even some salt because I'm going for like the easy version. Some people make, I don't even know what it's called. It's like auto lease or something. Just make a dough, then starter, pinching it in, then add the salt. I ain't doing all that because it's already gonna take all day. So you don't use very much of your starter. You just add some of it in, and then you just like put it to bed, leave it alone. Cover it with a damp towel. Is this towel damp? No. In the meantime, I'm gonna make a Thai tea. And this is what I thought that I would use the coconut milk for. I didn't. I just put some soy milk in it because that's usually how I get it. Listen, one thing y'all don't know about me is every summer I wear this out and I've never made it at home. Why have I never made it at home? Because what you see is orange, right? That is not natural. It's food coloring. So in my mind, I'm like, it's black tea. Just have black tea. It ain't that serious. But it don't taste the same. Thai tea is so specific in flavor. So when I found the one that I'm using here, colored by Annatto, I was like, oh yeah, say less. Which I have used for like dyeing fabrics. Finally, this is what my dough is looking like. And as you can see, the issue that I ran into is that all the way through, my dough was extremely sticky. I felt like it never quite came together. I'm not sure. Could just be due to my inexperience, or at least what I think it's due to the mixture that I used. I didn't actually use bread flour. I used regular AP flour. The difference is the gluten content. And also I went for a 50-50 mixture. So I used all-purpose and einkorn flour. It's basically like an ancient wheat, which is naturally lower in gluten. And then this is me finally slicing it open the next day because I baked it kind of late at night and I wasn't really sure how long you should let it cool. Although the crumb is not the greatest, I think this is not bad for my first try. And while I was tempted to just toast this and have it with butter so I can really taste it, I discovered some sun-dried tomato cheese in my refrigerator, so I had to go there. My man came through and got me that roasted garlic and parmesan from Tab, and y'all, she did this. Olivia Pope ain't got nothing on me when it comes to popcorn. So I've had my fair share, but this, y'all, this is my favorite flavor, hands down. So I don't know what Target finna do, but I do know they need to make this part of their permanent collection. I know full and well they're not watching this video, but let them know. This day I was absolutely starving. I do not know how I did not just get takeout. I'm very proud of myself. To say I get overwhelmed easily is an understatement, okay? So if that is how I am feeling, the first thing I'm not gonna do is cook myself anything. You lucky if I eat, first of all. As a matter of fact, let me take a sip of water. That's for you, babe. I drank water, okay? I'm hydrated. If you are in a relationship and one of you does not pee 17 times a day while the other one forgets to drink water until 5 p.m., are you really even together? Oh, I'm supposed to be talking about this. So this is me making or attempting to make something similar to Drunken Noodles because I suddenly had a memory that I used to eat it. Do I remember anything that was in the dish? No. So you'll notice that I first started off with a not Thai chili, but whatever red chili I could find. And what actually inspired this dish is finally found these really big wide cut noodles at the store and Thai basil. I decided to use the condensed milk, and what I decided to put it in was coffee. Making another toast because honestly the first one was just me trying to hurry up and try it. One of my favorite combinations, which you might have seen in a previous video, took some of the corned beef slices that I used for Reuben, put it on some ricotta with some almonds, and I loved it.